All right, y'all, let's see how you're doing working out 7 through 15. So some of these we might breeze through a little quicker than others, but 7, 8, and 9 are more on the simpler side. Okay, so let's try number 7. All right, first things first, we need to find our lowest common denominator. So I'm going to write out my multiples. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. We've done this one a couple times now. 10 times 1 is 10, so our LCD is 10. So let's rewrite 4/5. To have our denominator to be 10, 5 times 2 gives me 10. Whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, our next fraction is 9/10. Well, our denominator is already 10, so I don't have to change that. It still remains 9/10. Now we perform our operation. 8 over 10 plus 9 over 10. Well, that gives me 17 over 10. Well, this should be like a signal with our math brains. This does not look right. This is an improper fraction. We technically do not leave it like this. So we need to do some long division, which we know we all love. So 10 bottoms out, tops in. 10 can go into 17 one time. 17 minus 10 is 7. So I'd rewrite this as 1 and 7 over 10. 7 over 10 or 7/10 does not reduce. And this would be your most final of the final answers. Both are accepted, but this is how you would technically leave it. All right, let's look at number 8. We have 6 and 3. We got to find our LCD. So for 6, 6 times 1 is 6. For 3, we know 3 can go into 6, so this should be a dead giveaway on this one. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So our LCD, sure enough, is 6. Least common denominator is our LCD. So you hear me saying it a lot, and that's where I'm getting it from. So let's rewrite this. 4/6, well, the denominator is already 6, so that's going to remain 4/6, or 4 over 6. 1/3, our denominator needs to become a 6, so 3 times 2 gives me 6. So whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. So now we do our operation. We solve. So 4 over 6 minus 2 over 6. Our denominator stays the same, and subtract the top. 4 minus 2 is 2. Well, they're both even, so this would be our final answer, but we always try to reduce if we can. So I'm going to try to reduce by our numerator. I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. So my final most answer is 1/3. Again, if you're just writing whatever I say is the final answer and I don't see any work, you're not going to get credit for this assignment. Because remember, even though you say you can do it in your head, I have to see your process. Yes, I know I'm on maternity leave right now, but I'm coming back Monday and I need to see your thinking process. All right, number 9. We have 12 and 4. Well, we know 12 is a multiple of 4, so 4 and 12, this one should be an easier one because 4 can go into 12. All right, let's write our multiples. So for 12, 12 times 1 is 12. I'm going to just try there. For number 4, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3, is 12. Sure enough, our LCD is 12. So if you notice on these problems, whatever your larger value is, that was our LCD. All right, so here we go, number 9. So let's rewrite them. So 3/12. Our denominator is already a 12, so I don't have to change 3/12. That stays the same. 2/4. If I'm trying to get my denominator to be 12, 4 times what gives me 12? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3. Whatever you do on the bottom, you do on the top. So 2 times 3 is 6. I now have my 2 fractions. So let's rewrite it. 3/12 plus 6/12. Our denominator is going to stay the same. 3 plus 6 is 9. So our answer is 9/12. However, I think we can reduce this. So we're going to divide the top and bottom by a factor, which would be 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So if you're having trouble just dividing, think the opposite way. 3 times what would give you 9? 3. 3 times what would give you 12? 4. So that's the kind of cool thing about math. You can go different ways. So your most final answer on number 9 is 3/4. Alrighty, let's move on to the next 3. The hardest one on this whole entire paper is number 11. Because 8 and 9 are so close together, you're going to have a large LCD. Okay, so remember that strategy on number 11. So for number 10, let's see how you did. I have 12 and 6. I know 6 can go into 12, so this one should be fairly easy. 12 times 1 is 12. I'll write my 6 multiples. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Sure enough, my LCD is 12. All right, 5/12. I got to rewrite with my new LCD. Well, 12 is already the denominator, so I'm going to keep it the same. So that just stays 5/12. 1/6. 6 times what gives me 12? 1, 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do on the top. So 1 times 2 would give me 2. So now I have my 2 fractions. So let's rewrite it. 5/12 minus 2/12. That gives me 3/12. That would be my final answer. However, I think I can reduce this because I always want to check. So 3/12, I'm going to divide the top by 3 and the bottom by 3. Because sometimes you can check by just using the numerator. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. I can check it, work backwards. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So your most final answer is 1/4. Okay. I said number 11 was probably the hardest one on this whole entire sheet because the numbers are so close together. Remember, the strategy is I can multiply those values to check. So let's do that first. 8 times 9 is 72. So that should be our LCD. Always to be safe. However, let's check it. So yes, this might take up some space. That's why I said you can use always extra paper. So let's write out our multiples. I know I'm probably going to have to go all the way to 9, so let's do it. You got this. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, y'all, you're halfway there. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 8 is 64. And 8 times 9 is 72. If you want to make it pretty, you could go to 10 and say 8. All right, let's write our 9s. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. And 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 10 is 90. I went ahead and did a couple extra just to prove our case. So when looking at all these values, what they have in common, the lowest one is, sure enough, 72. All righty. I believe in you. Here we go. 2 8s. I need to change the denominator to be 72. 8 times what gives me 72? Well, we know we're working with these values. So we're going to multiply by 9. Whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do on top. So 2 times 9 is 18. All right, our second fraction, you have 3 9ths. 9 times what gives you 72? You have to multiply by 8. Whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do on the top. So 3 times 8 is 24. Now we add them. 18 over 72 plus 24 over 72. Our denominator stays 72. Add straight across. 18 plus 24 is 42. Now, I know this looks like a large fraction, but I can reduce this. Ooh. So I'm going to divide by 6. Six times 7 gives me 42. 6 times 12 gives me 72. When I get back, I can teach you a cool trick in your calculator using MathFrac. Okay? It's the math key. I can show you how to simplify these larger fractions in the calculator. However, it's not going to be helpful when you are on the calculator inactive section. But I can show you a cool little trick. All right, let's do number 12. I got a little bit more space. I'll just turn the paper like this. Okay, number 12. See, Miss McCraw uses a lot of paper, which is fine. All right, 1/4. Oh, my goodness, I'm having a moment. All right, we got 4 and 8. So let's list our multiples. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8. 8 times 1 is 8. We know this one would probably be easier because we know 4 can go into 8. So our LCD is 8. So rewrite your fractions. 1/4. 4 times 2 gives me 8. So whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on top. So 1 times 2 would be 2. For 1/8, that's just going to remain 1/8 because the denominator is already the LCD. So let's rewrite it. 2 8s minus 1/8. Our denominator is going to be 8, or an eighth. So our numerator, 2 minus 1 is 1. So that one was fairly easy, I believe. All right, check your work. So again, out of all the problems, number 11 was the hardest, but you survived. So we got 3 more. All righty, here we go. Number 13. We have 7 and 6. They're very close together. So you're probably going to, a shortcut would be just to multiply them, or let's just go ahead and list them to prove it. So 7 times 6 is 42. But let's double check. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 6 is 42. I'm going to stop there. For 6, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. And 6 times 7 is 42. Our LCD is 42. We proved it. All right, let's rewrite our fractions. 6 over 7. Our new LCD has to be 42. Well, 7 times 6 gave me 42. So whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do on the top. 6 times 6 is 36. Sometimes it helps if you write your multiples out because I can quickly do this without having to rethink about it. So it's 36 over 42. All right, 2/6. Our denominator needs to be 42. 6 times 7 gave me 42. So whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. 2 times 7 is 14. So now we add them. 36 over 42 plus 14 over 42. And you should get 50 over 42. All right, ding, ding, ding. Math brain. Something's wrong here. We got an improper fraction. We cannot leave it like this. So you have to do long divisions. Bottoms out, tops in. 42 can go into 50 one time. So we got to figure out what's left over. 50 minus 42 is 8. So we have 8 over 42. Now, so our new is 1 and 8 over 42. These are both even. Our numerator and our denominator is even. So I can reduce this by 2. So this should be 1 over 4 21st. Yes, that's a word number. So 4 over 21. Now, I know some kids are going to write 4 over 4, but we know that's 1. So, yes, my numbers can look kind of like numbers when I rewrite them. So, 4 over 21. That is your most final answer. All right, let's do number 14. So, we have two numbers kind of close together. So, if we multiply them to check, 3 times 7, that's 21. But let's see. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. And 3 times 7 is 21. So let's write our 7s. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. So sure enough, our LCD is 21. Now we need to rewrite our fractions. We have 1/3. Our new denominator needs to be 21. 3 times 7 gave me 21, so whatever I do on the bottom, I do on the top. 1 times 7 is 7. All right, 1/7. 7 times 3 gave me 21, so whatever you do on the bottom, do on top. You get 3 over 21. Now let's solve. 7 over 21 minus 3 over 21. That gives me 4 over 21, or 4 21st, and that does not reduce. Looks like it could, but it does not. One way you can tell is that your numerator is even, denominator is odd. That's one way you can check it. Doesn't work all the time, but that's one way you can check. So that's 13 and 14. All right, had to turn my paper around. So here's number 15, last one. Whoop, whoop. Almost done, almost done. All right. So one way we can check is 8 times 5 is 40. Now, if you got 2-digit numbers on the bottom, it's going to be ridiculous trying to multiply. Just write out the multiples. But this one is fairly small, so let's still check it. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. Let's write out our 5s. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 15. 20. 25. 30. 35. And 40. Sure enough, our LCD is 40. So let's rewrite it. 7 over 8. Our denominator used to have a 40. So that'd be multiplying by 5. So whatever you do on the bottom, you need to do on the top. 7 times 5 is 35. 4/5. 5 times 8 gives me 40. So whatever I do on the bottom, I do on the top. 4 times 8 is 32. So we rewrite to solve. 35 over 40 plus 32 over 40. So that should be 67 over 40. All right, ding, ding, ding. Improper fraction. Let's rewrite it. Bottoms out, tops in. 40 can go into 67 one time. You get 27. 27 over 40. This is your final answer. It does not reduce. So 1 and 27/40. Ooh, that's a big thing to say. All right, please make sure you staple all your work to your paper and turn it into the teacher. Hope you have a great day, y'all.